Hi, my name is Erica Buda-Doran, and this is my son, Cameron.
Hi.
We are here to share the story of Yes, Virginia, There is a Santa Claus with you.
Sometimes people want proof that there is a Santa Claus. No one has seen him on Christmas Eve, but just because we can't see something doesn't mean it isn't real.
Exactly. Shall we get started?
Sure.
Okay. So, a long time ago in New York City, things were a lot like they are today. It was the holiday season, but people were sad, they were lonely, and many were forgetting how to be kind. It seemed like nobody was excited for Christmas except for a little girl named Virginia O'Hanlon.
Virginia loved Christmas. She loved the presents and the decorations, and most of all, Santa Claus. Virginia loved Santa Claus so much that she even made a book about him. She showed her friend Ollie and convinced her to show their other friends from school.
Virginia and Ollie's friends loved her book, and all of them shared what Santa brought them last year and how excited they were for him to visit this Christmas Eve. But the biggest bully of the school, Charlotte, overheard and started teasing them. She called them babies and said that there was no proof that Santa was real.
Charlotte even stole Virginia's book, and it ended up falling in a mud puddle and getting ruined. Virginia was so upset, she swore to herself that she would prove to Charlotte and everyone else that Santa Claus was real.
Virginia and Ollie started their search for proof at the library. The librarian helped them find all the books about Santa Claus. They learned what people called him in all different countries around the world, like Sinterklaas in Holland and Père Noël in France. They learned interesting tidbits about Santa, but they still didn't have concrete proof that he was real.
That night, Virginia saw a man dressed like Santa, but he was way too skinny and scraggly to be the real Santa Claus. She asked him what he was doing, dressed as Santa, and he said he worked for Santa and tried to help by doing things that Santa would do if he were there.
Do you remember what he was doing?
Yes, he was collecting money for the poor.
Mm-hmm. And do you ever see people at holiday time collecting money for the poor?
Yes, sometimes you see people dressed in Santa hats, ringing bells like Scraggly Santa, and collecting money for the poor.
You're right. Virginia also noticed that Scraggly Santa was missing his coat. And do you remember why?
He said that he gave it to someone else that needed it more than him.
And then what did she see?
She saw a woman with a baby, and she was wearing the red coat.
Very good. When Virginia got home, she asked her dad if he could give her proof that Santa was real. Well, he said, someone brought you presents last year, and someone ate all the cookies that you left out. But then he just kept talking and talking, and Virginia stopped paying attention.
But then Virginia saw the newspaper called The Sun. She knew if that you see it in the sun, it must be true. So she decided to write to the newspaper. She knew that the editor would write her back and tell her the truth. But when the editor got Virginia's letter, he wasn't happy. He wanted to just print the facts. His assistant told him he should answer it, but he didn't want to. He crumpled Virginia's letter up and threw it away.
Virginia kept waiting and waiting for the editor to write back. She was getting sadder and sadder. She asked her mother about it, and her mother said my favorite thing. She said, believing in Santa isn't something you prove. It's something you do. Whenever we act like Santa Claus would and are kind to others, that proves that he is real.
I like that part too, and it gave Virginia an idea. The next morning, she decided to act like Santa Claus. She brought Scraggly Santa a new coat, and he was so grateful. Acting like Santa Claus made Virginia feel really good.
But then Charlotte the bully showed up. She found Virginia's letter in the garbage and had it with her. Virginia couldn't believe it. Her heart was broken, and she ran home in tears.
Virginia was sad, but Scraggly Santa was angry. He took Virginia's letter and went right to the newspaper's office. He told the editor of the Sun he needed to answer Virginia's letter. That when people have something to believe in, the world becomes a better place.
That night, the editor stayed at his office late and thought about Virginia and her letter. He realized how important this really was.
The next morning, Ollie knocked on Virginia's door, and he was holding a copy of the Sun, and on the front page was Virginia's letter.
Want me to read it?
Yeah.
All right, I'll read a little version of it. It says, Virginia, your little friends are wrong. They do not believe except for what they see. Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. He exists as certainly as love and generosity and devotion exist. How dreary would the world be if there were no Santa Claus? It would be as dreary as if there were no Virginias or Camerons. There would be no childlike faith then, no poetry, no romance. The eternal life with which childhood fills the world would be extinguished. No Santa Claus. Thank God he lives, and he lives forever. 1,000 years from now, Virginia, nay, 10 times 10,000 years from now, he will continue to make glad the heart of childhood. Then what happened?
Virginia was so happy she shouted Merry Christmas down her street. A man passing by said Merry Christmas back. He had rosy cheeks and a big white beard.
And what was he holding?
He was holding her Santa book that had been ruined, but now was good as new.
That's the end. What have you learned from the story of Virginia and her letter about Santa Claus?
I've learned that we can act like Santa Claus. When we do that, we prove that he is real.
And how can we act like Santa Claus?
By giving to the poor like Scraggly Santa, or helping people who need it, or cheering people up who are sad at this time of year.
Those are great ideas. We especially need some cheering up this year. What else did you learn?
I also learned that just because you can't see something doesn't mean it's not real.
Christmas time is a great time to remember that true faith is believing without seeing. Sometimes the truest and most magical things can't be seen.
Like Santa.
Like Santa.
Like God. We can't see God, but we know he's there.
Mm-hmm. That is true faith, Cameron. Anything else?
Love. You can't see love, but you can feel it, and you can help other people feel it, and we know it's real.
You're exactly right. Thank you for joining us for our story. We hope that you enjoyed it, and we hope you find something to believe in this holiday season. From our family to yours, Merry Christmas.